What's going on? Here we are. We are here, the final theory module for non-fungible frameworks. And we're talking, of course, about resistance, objections, overcoming that thing that you either missed in the discovery or has now just sprung up after you made the offer. So revealing price is a funny thing in the sales process, and it's, of course, what really every prospect wants to get to. And depending on when and where you do this exactly in your sales process, you will meet some sort of resistance. When you invite your prospect to take action, you will meet some resistance. And so we're going to talk about that resistance, what these objections look, sound, and feel like. Now, I'll go through the classic ones, but know that what I'll share with you in this module and what I'll show you through examples in our live call modules, really you can apply these frameworks to any specific resistance to doing anything. And particularly, of course, we're applying this to consultative sales and to sales in general. So the classic objections are, of course, price or value, thinking about it or delaying the decision, partner, spouse, significant other, someone else, pawning off the decision onto someone else. What if it doesn't work? What if I can't do something? What if you can't do something for me? What if I'm a special snowflake? And of course, timing. So this is similar to the think about objection, but it's usually based on a logistic event or thing that's obstructing their ability to do it now. So what I'll do is go through a scenario in my mind and here with you that's going to allow us to understand how these objections and how this resistance takes shape and how you can overcome it. So I'll take you through a step-by-step, and there are what looks like 7 points that I've previously made and that I'll make here with you, and we'll probably expand on them. So let's get into it, shall we? What we have here, where'd we go? There we go. That's okay. Okay, we're back. So what I have here are 7 different steps to really explore, isolate, and overcome any resistance or objections. If you've never seen the meme, then my title here on the slide, "It Smells Like Bitch in Here," doesn't make sense. Molly actually shared with me this morning. She didn't know what that was from. And so we got to explore that together. It actually comes from an episode of Beyond Scared Straight. And this guy comes into the room and he says, "It smells like bitch in here. Y'all all smell like bitch." And it's just the energy that we want to have going into the objection handling frame with our prospects. They are afraid of taking action. They're afraid of what if it doesn't happen, or what if it doesn't work for me? What if it doesn't go according to plan? What if people think I'm a failure? What if I can't produce? Whatever, right? And so we want to explore that fear, knowing that fear or distrust, and really that's a fear of another person or a fear of the unknown, is what's coming up in the objection handling frame. That's really it. Underneath all of this stuff, it's just fear. And so I'll take you through step by step what I do and what I coach so many sales reps to do and business owners when they're understanding where resistance is coming from. You can use this in sales. You can use this in your relationships. You can use this in any kind of conflict resolution or any type of accountability coaching, any coaching at all to get someone to do something that they're ultimately afraid to do. So let's get into it, shall we? So first off, when we actually hear the words that are coming out of their mouth, we want to pick up particular statements. And what I'm looking for here are this sort of flawed or this fallacies that people will say. Things that contradict ultimately what they want. Your prospect wants to move their business forward, move their life, their health, their relationship forward. They want to move forward their relationship with themselves, something, anything. And what they'll tell you is that they're basically afraid to do that because now it costs money to do that, and there's risk, and there's other potentials of failure on the table. Do not let your prospects fool you that it's not about money. It is about money, because spending money and not getting the intended results makes people look like a fool. It obviously puts them out several hundred or thousands of dollars. And the ego cannot handle that. It cannot handle being wrong. It cannot handle being in an uncomfortable environment where the brain then gets to say, I told you so. So they will tell you, and mostly themselves, stories about why now's not the right time, or it's too much money, or it's more money than they wanted to spend, or they can't get access to money, whatever the story is. So we need to sort and pick through those stories and immediately appeal to logic. Most objection handling that you'll learn is all emotional or empathy-based, identity-based, and we'll get into that in a moment. That's great. I want you to do that because at the end of the day, people buy from people, and people buy on what and back it up with what. We're going to flip that framework, and we're going to go for logic first. And as you begin to do this and trust the process, you'll see why. Because people, if you trust this process, they will trust you massively. When you appeal to logic, you're a reasonable person. And instead of a manipulative salesperson that's tugging on the heartstrings or toying with their emotions, you're now this very logical, compassionate, mindful being that, hey, they want to do business with and they want to work with. So I will take you through an example in full in one of the live call example modules, and I'm just going to kind of talk through it here with you at the moment, just to keep it brief. So I'm going to sort through the story, find the contradiction to what they said earlier and what they're saying now, and really isolate what I'm hearing. So in sorting through the stories, you're going to isolate what the actual objection is. Someone might say, geez, Cody, that's a lot of money. I'd have to talk to my spouse about that. So why don't you just give me some time and I'll think about this and then I'll get back to you. Whoa, dude. Those are three different things. What is it actually? So first of all, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money compared to what? We're talking about building a multi-million-dollar business here, and you're complaining about $10,000 investment. So that doesn't make sense. So take that off the table, or let's address it. Well, $10,000 is more than I've ever spent in my business before. Okay. So it's not that it's a lot of money objectively. It's a lot of money to you because you haven't spent it before. Do you agree or disagree? Appeal to logic. You need to talk to your spouse. So is it that you need to talk to your spouse because you're not sure if this is what you want to do? Or you need to talk to her because if you spend over X amount of dollars, you have an agreement that you'll speak with each other first because previously you've spent thousands of dollars and it didn't work out. Yeah, that. Okay, well that makes sense. And it doesn't sound like you need to think about it at all. It sounds like thinking about this is scaring you and you want to talk to your wife to have her shoot it down for you because $10,000 is more money than you ever spent before. So let's then look at the type of person that spends $10,000 without a blink of an eye. You mentioned earlier that you wanted to eventually move from running this business to investing in real estate. Well, spending $300,000 on a real estate investment seems reasonable because that's not even that expensive of a property or that costly of a property. But $10,000 here feels scary. Why? And explore that with them. So the identity of the real estate investor or the future business owner that's a multimillionaire is ultimately what that prospect would have told me he wants or she wants to move towards. So I'm going to bring that back up into the forefront of this conversation and remind them that that's what they want. And then ask them, so is the multi-million-dollar real estate investor the type of person that would be afraid to spend $10,000 or know that this is what they need to implement the right strategy so they can have enough leads coming into their business so that they can generate and close and generate more revenue and close more deals? And so you remind them that the savvy business owner spends thousands of dollars every single day. It's what he or she does in order to make make exponentially more money. So you appeal to the identity there. Once we've appealed to the logic that $10,000 is more money than they've ever spent, we then appeal to the identity of the fact that their future self, the business owner, successful entrepreneur, real estate investor, would have no problem spending this money. He or she would know that that's a reasonable investment as long as the strategy makes sense. So then, Mr. and Mrs. Customer, what we're left with is that it must just not make sense to you. Is that the case? Or is there something unclear? Or perhaps we should go back and kind of revisit? That's when I'm going to go back and resell them on what I've offered them. So I'm going to loop back through these. Keep doing that. I'm going to loop back through these, sort through the story, appeal to logic, appeal to identity, as much as I need to, until I start to feel what I call yes energy. When they start to come from a no to a maybe to a yeah, to a later to a now. When they start to shift their energy from, I don't know, to a, that's a good point, Cody. You're making a lot of sense. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I know. They start to agree with you. They start to move in your direction. They start to become more open to it, more fluid. And there you have your opportunity to start closing. So this is where, once we get that yes energy, once we get the shift in momentum, this is where we issue the choice. So ultimately, Mr. Customer, it's up to you. Whether you talk to your wife and she's afraid, just like you're afraid, and you guys decide not to do this, or you do this now because you know ultimately this is the strategy that we've discussed that you need. I'm not going to force you. I want this to be a hell yes for you. And if it's not, we probably shouldn't do it. So where would you like to go from here? Well, I'd really like to talk it over with her. Okay, what do you think she's going to say? Back to sorting through the stories. What do you think she's going to say? What are her questions? What if she says no? How confident are you that you can do this without a strategy like this? And if you're not working with us, somebody else who has a similar strategy is going to charge probably just as much, if not more. And if they don't, they're probably not very good at what they do. So that leaves you with either spending the money that you know is going to help you drive more leads and drive more sales into your business, or figuring out another way to do it and generate leads on your own without having to spend any money. And like you said, you had already explored posting on Facebook, running a Facebook group, running ads with your own strategy, doing email outreach on LinkedIn, and buying leads of lists of leads, and it's brought you here. But you told me that you're not very confident that it's going to take you there. $500K per month, $200K per month, $20,000 per month, whatever the number is, it doesn't matter. So when you issue the choice to do it on their own, do this, or do something else that's out there. Maybe they're shopping around. Maybe they're looking at so-and-so's program. That's fine. You can explore that with them as well. Again, sort through the stories and appeal to logic. If they're shopping you, what do they want? Why are they shopping you? What's different about their product versus your product? A lot of times it's just they're similar products and it's based on relationship. So once you issue the choice, they're going to have more squirming and complaints and excuses and stories, and you're going to have to loop back around, sort through that, find the logic, dispel that irrational thinking. And what will remain are these unknown unknowns or known unknowns. Well, you don't know what the market's going to do with COVID and Facebook ads turning into Meta. You don't know what we're going to do, what's going to happen with cryptocurrency exactly. You can speculate, but you don't know. There's not enough data. So at the end of the day, Mr. Customer, you can either sit and wait for the world to pass you by, hoping you can get an idea of how to read into the tea leaves and predict the future, or you can bet on yourself. And that's all I'm inviting you to do. I'm inviting you to get paired up and supported by leading experts in the market, our team, who understand how to take you from here to there, whatever their situation is, how to help you burn fat and build muscle, how to help you repair the relationship with your son, daughter, mother, whatever the situation is. That's all we're asking you to do, is to bet on yourself. Because I bet that even if you're a terrible cook, if we put a half-decent recipe in front of you, you can probably make a pretty nice meal for you and your family. Wouldn't you agree? If we can give you the instructions, if we can give you the training, if we can give you the support, the coaching, do you think that you're going to be able to ask the right questions or ask the questions that come up for you and show up and get the most out of your experience with us? Or do you think that it'll be a total waste of your time? So after you've done everything that you can do as a salesperson who supports a logical argument and supports their future identity, there will still be remaining speculations, what ifs, and concerns that they have, because that's the world that we live in, folks. Nothing is 100% certain. There are universal laws of the universe, but right now, very smart people are working on ways to theoretically and practically bend or break those laws. It's a beautiful place to be. And maybe I'm an optimist. So after you have gotten back into discovery mode, gotten curious with your prospect to understand where their fear is coming from, you will need to, at some point, turn into a motivational speaker. You will need to, at some point, encourage them and invite them and powerfully believe in them. And they will, if they're a very uncertain candidate, need to borrow your belief. And on the example module that I have for you on this note, that's exactly what the salesperson does. Their belief is stronger than the prospect's, and so the prospect jumps in. She's nervous, but she jumps in anyway. And if after your little TED Talk and motivational speech, they're still not in, they're not interested, they're not buying it either, you're not that convicting or convincing, you're not that convicted, and you're not that convincing, or they really just don't want to do this. And so that's where you owe it to yourself to have a little bit of pride, just a bit, and pull the offer. Well, Steve, it sounds like this really isn't what you want to do. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and rescind my offer because I don't see a reason why you would not take action on this in the immediate or in very near future. And based on what you've shared with me, it doesn't really sound like you have a very compelling reason either. It's just something that you're not willing to do at this point, and that's totally fine. And so I am going to go ahead and rescind our offer. And I just wish you the absolute best. Folks, I wish you the best, or best of luck, is the professional way of saying fuck off. So use it. And that's really it. Those are my 7 points. So let's surmise them very quickly. When we drop our price or make our offer in the sort of textbook official way that it will unfold, at the end of the call, you've gone through the rapport frame discovery, you've diagnosed what their problem is, you've made a prescription, you've sold them something, made a presentation, you've made them an offer, it's very clear, it's timeline based, and it has a price point attached to it. Then you get an objection. You get a story, an excuse, a reason for not taking action today. You're going to sort through the specifics of that, help them be specific, and help yourself understand why they don't want to do this today, right now, or in the next couple of days. Sort through, is it an actual fear? Is it a bullshit smokescreen? Or is there some sort of logistic thing in the way? And be wary that logistics can sound very real, but in reality, it is a limiting belief or a smokescreen from a very sophisticated prospect. You might have to hear that again. Be mindful that a seemingly logistic objection is not just, or be wary that a seemingly logistic objection could be a smokescreen, bullshit, or a limiting belief. So once you sort through that and understand and isolate what is the real issue here, is it price? Is it that they don't know what's going to happen? If they don't believe in themselves, they don't trust you, their spouse is going to divorce them, their business partner's not on board, they have something they want to do first. Find out what it is specifically. And then logically poke holes in why that does not make as much sense as them joining your program or working together with you on a service basis. This has to be real. You cannot make this up. And I encourage you to be truthful and honest as opposed to manipulative. Once you have done that and you start to sense that they understand your point logically, then you're going to hit them with the identity or emotional side of this, that which appeals to their identity and their future, the person they want to become, and challenges them right now to get out of their comfort zone. And so that's where you issue the choice. You can either be the seven-figure person, or you can be the six-figure person. You can either be the entrepreneur, or you can be the employee. Issue the choice. Whatever you want to do, it's up to you. So I've made it very clear that I know for a fact we can help you. I'm very confident in that, and I don't see a reason why you wouldn't take action if you're able to get over the fact that it's uncomfortable to spend $10,000 to solve a problem that you could have solved yourself, but you've been in the business for 2 years and quite frankly, you haven't yet. So, do you want to get started today? And if and when they still have fear, that's when you're going to explore all the unknowns with them and do a little bit of motivational speaking, a little bit of coaching, a little bit of lighting a fire under them. And if that does not work for you, then go ahead and have some respect for yourself and the business you represent and pull the offer. And that, my friends, will do it for now. So this is the process. It is a framework. It is not a linear checklist, even though I've laid it out as such. It is a very non-binary, ambiguous, gray area in sales that is a art form. Discovery and closing are the two most artistic processes in sales. And so your passion, your confidence, your tone of voice, your belief in your product, and your ability to go there is what is either allowing you to be successful or keeping you from being successful. So I'll share with you some examples and what this looks, sounds, and feels like in live call scenarios. And I'll pick apart what I like, what I don't like, what I would have done differently, and I'll show you how to apply the framework. So I'll see you in the live call example module. This has been a lot of fun recording this for you folks, and I'm excited to see what you do with it. So I'll see you on the next video. I'm out.